This is a story about my son when he became a Cub Scout. Previously, he'd been what's called a beaver, which is the youngest division of scouting. And every Tuesday evening, I think it was, we would walk down to the scout hut together, me, my son, and my daughter. When he got to be 8, he got translated up to being a Cub Scout. Got a new uniform, new woggle. And he said to me, I think I should be walking down to the scout hut by myself. 8 years old now. Well, it so happened where we lived, to get to the scout hut was about 150 metres down a perfectly straight road with very little traffic. He had to cross 3 roads, I think it was, to actually get there. But I figured I could send him off and he'd be marching down towards the scout hut, not thinking about where I was, and I could just watch him as he went down. And so that's what we did. I'd send him off, and off he would go, marching down the road, and stopping, crossing, being very careful. He knew the road quite well because it was the way to the primary school. And I would just stand there and watch him so that I knew that he was okay. And I was doing this one summer evening, and as he was marching off to the scout hut, there was a lady coming the other way, obviously about my age, 40s it would have been then. And she looked at him, and she looked at me, and she walked past him, and as she got up to me, she said, "So he's going to Scouts by himself, is he?" And I said, yes, he is. And at that point, the sort of scales fell from my eyes, and I suddenly had a flashback to when I was about 8. Now, I grew up in a very different situation, didn't live in London. I lived in the countryside, and it was the early 70s, so kids were wandering about free and easy a lot more. And I would cycle round what we called the block, which was just a little loop of country lanes, again, hardly any traffic. And I would cycle around this, and that was me being big and grown up. And I was doing this one summer evening, and I fell off my bike. I can't remember why, but anyway, I grazed my knee or some other, tragedy. And immediately my mother was there, and she just appeared out of nowhere, scooped me up, looked after me, put me in the back of the car, drove me home. Not very far, it was only half a mile home. And she always said that my mother was half Irish, and she always said that she had the sight, you see, and so she knew I was in trouble because of the sight, and so she'd come out to find me. And suddenly, as I was there watching my son, who thought he was walking by himself down to the scout hut, I realised that my mother was following me, and I'd never noticed. And the thing is that when you're 8 and your parents tell you something, on the whole you believe it, or at least I'd like to think that my children believe it.